What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. This is Uncut with Q. I'm your host, Quentin Flores. In this show, guys, we talk about all things current events, business, entrepreneurship, mindset, personal development, and overcoming hardships. Welcome to the motherfucking show. I have an amazing guest today, and I'm super excited to announce that. I mean, I don't know what episode we're on at this point, man. I kind of lost fucking count, but
that's good, bro.
Dude,
you're crushing it.
What's up, man? How you doing, dude?
I'm good. My name's Dylan. I'm happy to be here, and I'm excited to just be a part of the beginning with you, man, on this Uncut with Q.
Bro, it's so awesome. So for everybody here who is just meeting Dylan for the first time, man, this guy is a phenomenal dude. I've been following him around for years, literally. He's a good friend of mine. We've done business together in multiple areas. Yeah. And dude, I mean, I've just been seeing his growth. And this guy right here, he does a lot of amazing things. And we're going to be getting into this, all right? And so, guys, what I need y'all to do is rate the show. Tell the people about the show. That's the only fee that we have. If you get fucking value from this thing, share the show. All right, guys?
5 stars.
So, man, today, man, what we're going to be going into is Dylan and really what his life is all about right now. Dude, how about this, man? Tell me what you've been up to.
It's crazy that like 10 minutes ago, we were talking about like all the things that you can do from your phone, right? And you were saying like, oh, before this, I like knocked out 30 things from my phone right now for all my businesses and stuff, like hitting up clients and everything. And I've realized that I can make a lot of money from my phone. So that's pretty much just what I've been doing. Like I've been making money from real estate and just making things happen through my iPhone and through websites, pretty much all set up on my phone. And then I'm making money through options trading as well, just through Webull trading, Thinkorswim trading, all from my phone.
It's insane, dude. Yeah. It's insane. Now, you make a bunch of money from your phone, and what does your day-to-day look like if you're just doing this from your phone?
Man, so my day-to-day is entirely different than what it was like 2 years ago. 2 years ago, my daughter was born, and I was not doing anything that I'm doing now. Like I was trapping, you know, I was paying for my girl's school through that. I was paying for rent through that. Like I hadn't had a job in like 3 years. So I left being a general manager, decided like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to work for anybody anymore. Started my own business. You know, we go back doing that for a while as well. Mm-hmm. And then from there, when my daughter was born and it ended up just being me taking care of her, I realized like, yo, I got to not do this anymore, but I got to figure out how to make money from being here at home with her. Because I can't just like leave her anywhere. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like I don't have a huge family or anybody that I can really rely on. And then when things happen the way that they did with me and my ex, it just like her family wasn't anybody that I could depend on either. So it was like, it's just me. And how can I make it happen? So I remember like scrolling through TikTok and Instagram and stuff. And I remember seeing Kang on... It wasn't Kang that I saw first, actually. It was Ryan Pineda that I saw.
Oh, I love that dude.
Ryan Pineda I saw first because he made this video about like how to make money flipping couches. And I'm just like online trying to figure out like how can I make money from home right now while taking care of my daughter. I'm looking at everything that I can, right? So it ended up being couch flipping, and then that led me to Kang, who talked about wholesaling. And then I called Garrett, who's been my friend since we were kids. And I was like, yo, have you heard about this thing called wholesaling? Like, I know you do real estate. I'm trying to get into that. He was like, bro, that's what me and Q do. That's our whole business. We have a wholesaling business. I was like, I want to get started. Like, where do I get started? He was like, check out this course. It'll teach you everything you need to know. Shout out to Tyler Austin. Thanks for changing my life.
Boom.
And yeah, dude, from there, I just started making things happen, all while holding my baby's bottle in her mouth. And then from there, like I started automating things with real estate. So I have leads coming in now without me having to actually call people. And so from there, I have like extra time in the morning where I'm just hanging with my daughter, looking at my laptop, looking at my phone, pushing buttons and making money with it. So I'm taking my real estate checks, I'm putting them into option trading, and I'm making that money make more money just by clicking buttons on my phone. So my morning literally starts with me waking up, flipping open my laptop in bed. I lay in bed, like I get up, get ready, but I lay right back down in bed. And then my daughter wakes up. She comes over to my bed, crawls in bed with me. I put on cartoons for her, so she like cuddles up right next to my side and starts like watching her cartoons, and I'm just trading options on my laptop. And it's insane that that's what life is now.
That is honestly so heartwarming, bro.
Yeah.
That's the dream, man. That's the dream.
I have so many people tell me that. I have so many people like, yo, you're living the American dream. And I'm like, am I? They're like, dude, you get to stay at home. You don't worry about anything. Like, you're always able to take care of your bills. Your fridge is full of food. Your daughter's taken care of. Like, there's people that have to sacrifice their time to make money to take care of their kids, right? So they don't even get to see these special moments with their babies. Whereas then I was able to just like figure out a way to create taking care of her while being with her. And I guess that is like an American dream for sure.
And you're a full-blown single dad.
Yeah. Oh, completely.
And you're doing all of this with no help from your family, no in-laws that you can rely on whatsoever. It's just you and your daughter.
Yeah. Just us two.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Yo, first off, man, I got to say that's the most admirable thing that I've ever heard, bro. And I love it so much because I run into Dylan a lot, guys, for y'all that are listening, that are watching this right now. I run into Dylan a lot at real estate events, and he always has his daughter with him.
Yeah.
I saw him speak in front of a few hundred people in the Tower of Americas at an event, and his daughter was next to him on stage. You know, and when we talked about this, so this podcast is about a week in the making. We had to push it forward a little bit. If you're listening to this is probably about maybe a couple of weeks after we filmed, but I promise you, man, like we even had the conversation of bringing your daughter in here to do the podcast with her sitting next to you. Like, why not?
Yeah. I decided against it though, just because it's her nap time right now. So she's gonna get a little cranky. She won't sit here. She'll want to start talking on the mic and start freestyling. She'll start going, hello? Like she like tries to take real estate deals and stuff now. And she accidentally bought an option trade the other day, clicking away at my computer. I have it like set up for like hotkeys to work.
Oh, wow.
And so she like shift clicked at something and bought a trade that I didn't even know about. It didn't make money. So she didn't do good her first time. So it's okay. But
I mean, how old is she?
She's 2, but it's just crazy, like seeing how kids are so observant of everything that we do, and they just try to be like us. Like I'm sure you see it with your son all the time. Like he probably just walks around just trying to be everything that you are, and like my daughter does the same thing, and it's just insane to see that.
I love it, Dylan, because the approach that you're taking is the way that I wish I would have done it. Now, I don't regret the way that I did it at the beginning because it got me to this point where I can have a podcast and a platform where I'm able to do a tremendous amount of things for a lot of people. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve and to help people and to put people on as well. You know, I love doing that. There's nothing that makes me happier, bro, than seeing people fly, you know? And the only thing is at the beginning of my journey, I had spent so much time away from my family. It was like almost as if I was neglecting them.
Yeah.
There's this thing that I learned, bro, and I'm going to share it with you, and then I'll pass the mic back to you on this, but it's called faith, family, fitness, and finance. And so faith is faith in your ability to be able to do these things, also faith in our Creator. Family means that you have the correct people associated with you. This does not have to be blood. It can be individuals within your network that are willing to make moves with you, guide you to the place that you've always wanted to go, the Holy Land, right? And then you have fitness, which is essentially, what are you able and willing to fit into your life? Whenever I'm lifting weights, bro, sometimes I'll push my max at like 135 and on 30 to 40, like 40 reps in one set, just to try to see how much I can lift it. When you go beyond that, that's where the muscle is growing. That's where you grow. You go past your limits. So fitness to me isn't just what you're able to like what you're physically capable to do, but what you're willing to fit into your life until it becomes easy. Because nothing's hard at the beginning. It's just a challenge. It's a lesson. And once you overcome it, then it becomes easy. Then you add more weight, you increase the tension, and guess what happens? It becomes easy again. And then the last one is finance. And you got that down on the options trading, what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so, you know, faith, family, fitness, and finance, those are the 4 core values that I live by now. And I realized that I wasn't even operating at my highest potential because I was neglecting my family so much. And this is me telling everybody this, you know. And so once I got that right, that's when all the growth happened for me. And you've been going in this direction, using this formula like subconsciously this entire time.
Yeah.
And I think that the growth that you've had over the last 2 years is credited to those things that I was just talking about, because you carry yourself so well, bro.
Man, you just blew my mind.
It's so good.
That fitness part blew my mind, because like I've heard about the 4 F's before, but I like the way that you put it. It's like about what you can fit into your life. Like, do you think that it's a challenge? Do you think that it's hard and stuff? And I have this thing that I think of when it comes to pain, right? And like pain is like a bad feeling that you're having, to your arm being broken, to your skin got a paper cut, right? Just whatever pain is. Anytime I'm feeling pain, I always think to myself, how long will this last? Will this hurt next week? Will this hurt 2 weeks from now? Will this hurt a month from now? Will this hurt a year from now? And if at any time I can find the answer no, then I can immediately decide within myself that it doesn't hurt now. if it won't hurt then pain is just in the mind. Then it doesn't actually hurt now. Like I can already be healed. I can already be in that place where it's okay and I'm comfortable. And so with being a single dad, like I have a lot of people tell me like, that must be so hard, right? And of course, like we know, like, how can you think something's hard when you don't know anything different, right?
Yeah.
But that's where the fitness thing comes in that you just said. It's about what you can fit to make happen. And I just was able to figure out a way to make things happen instead of crumbling beneath the weight.
Which most people would do in that circumstance, bro.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Like,
Yeah.
I'm very grateful that I have an amazing, supportive family, too. And I know not everybody's fortunate enough to have that. And sometimes you find your family along the way.
Oh, for sure.
And so you have, like, a group of people that you work with currently that are, like,
Yeah.
on a whole growth level right now, right?
It's amazing because one of those people is Garrett, and me and Garrett have been friends since high school. And, like, I don't think he'll get upset with me saying this because he's such an open person, but like you know Garrett. Garrett's a genius.
Yeah,
Garrett is
really smart.
like a literal genius. I used to go visit Garrett when he was like in the special ed class, and like I'd eat lunch with him in class there because he was dyslexic. So they put him in this class to like help him with his dyslexia. He didn't really belong in there, right? Like it didn't make any sense, but like that was my homie. So like, let's go kick it. Let's go kick it with everybody in there. And I met all these other people in there that were really cool, but like seeing his development alone from then to now, and then like being alongside that, like sometimes we don't look at ourselves, right, when we look at our own personal development, but it's easy to see in the person next to us. Like, yo, I've seen you come from here to there to there. Like, that's amazing, right? But we don't realize ourselves, like, wow, we've come so far. So, like, being next to my brother for so long and, like, seeing his growth and still being right there with him is like, wow, that's amazing. Like, we're both crushing it at life. Like, there's so many friends that I had in high school that are not doing anything, right? They're still working for other people, or they don't even have jobs at all, right? And it's just like a bummer. Whereas in Garrett and I have like prospered, right? And he's one of the close people. Then there's Jeremy as well, and we all kind of run that Infinite Signals group together.
Yeah.
Make sure to use code Clutch to get half off of that. And yeah, man, it's just amazing, like, to be able to mastermind with people, but not just in like one area of something, right? Like we mastermind about philosophy, about psychology, about real estate, about options trading, just life in general, right? And because everybody, it's really cool when you keep people in your circle that are all kind of at different points in life, because if everybody's kind of at the same point in life, you're like limited in what you're learning, right? Mm-hmm. But if everybody's kind of at a different point in life, but still kind of on that same trajectory and that same journey, then you can pick up things from each other that can help each other grow, right? Like I have the kid in the group, right? They don't have a kid. So when I pass them like parental advice or perspective advice about time and things like that, like it's like, wow, it's really eye-opening to them. But like I can't get that from them, but then I get other stuff from them that I wouldn't get because I'm with my baby, right? So like I'm not necessarily soaking in the same content that they are as much. So we're able to like actually work together. And when you keep that circle of everybody kind of, I don't want to say like playing a different role, but like they're in just different spots in life while on the same journey, it helps everybody propel forward.
Absolutely, bro. Having the right people in your life is a shortcut to success, dude. Literally
Major.
In all calibers, bro. Like nutrition and fitness and mindset and growth, like in just in growth in general. When you're able to plant yourself in the correct environment, you grow astronomically, dude. So who, like, how did you, I mean, are you born and raised in San Antonio?
Yeah.
What school I mean, well, tell me about how you grew up, man, first of all.
So my mom was a single mom, and my very early years were spent like bouncing around places and like being homeless. And I remember like growing up in the shelter, and like feces were on the wall. It was fucking terrible. It was, sorry if we're not allowed to cuss.
No, go ahead,
It was
bro.
fucking terrible.
Holy shit.
And they would
literally shit.
You would literally stay there at night, and then you'd like leave during the day. So like I remember like we would go on marches during the day for whatever protest was going on downtown or whatever march was going on downtown, just to like kill time during the day until we could get back in the shelter. I remember like my toys would get stolen and stuff like that. It was just like an awful place to be, until one day we were able to get this cool trailer in a trailer park. And to me, I was like, woo, we're living life, right? We're in a trailer park. Let's go. Way better than the homeless shelter. And My mom and I lived there for about 5 years in Leon Springs. So like right in between San Antonio and Bernie, like a nice country area. And then the city just like came through, changed everything. We ended up losing that place. Our landlord evicted us. My mom had a hard time making things happen when it was just her. And I realized later in life that she dealt with a lot of things that I didn't know about as a kid. I didn't realize until I want to say like even 3 years ago that she has bipolar disorder. And I've learned so much about mental health that finding that out, I was like, yo, that explains so much about growing up with you. Like, because I know all these symptoms of bipolar disorder, and it like hammer to the nail meets everything that I was like stressed about as a kid dealing with you. Like I used to have to feel like I had to record my mom because she wouldn't remember what she just said to me. And then she would like gaslight me on it later. And it's like, it would drive me crazy, you know, as a kid to deal with that for so much, like all of my formative years.
Wow.
Right. And it was pretty nutty. So I've learned a lot about mental health, and I've learned a lot about how people work and how they operate just by being around somebody like that. Right. And like, I don't want to say like studying them, because I wasn't studying my mom. I was just living with her. But just like being in the environment with somebody like that, where they can just be every which way, gives you a really big perspective on the world and lets you know that like, hey, anybody can kind of flip at any moment. You never really know what somebody's going through. Right. I remember my mom always kind of like harboring this feeling that the whole world was out to get her. And I would have to tell her like at 8 years old, I'm like, Mom, like the world is not out to get you. Like, that's not how it works. Like, try being positive.
It is true, and there are tons of good people in the world, but you have to filter through a lot of bad ones to find it.
Yeah. So going through that trailer park, I remember walking up this little hill and thinking to myself every day, like, I'm never going to end up here. I'm never going to end up here ever again in my life. And sure enough, like, we ended up getting a little apartment after this whole thing with my grandma's house happened that we were staying at. My sister took over the power of attorney, and then my own sister evicted us from the house.
My God.
So made us homeless again when I was still in middle school. And like, it made it really hard to go to school because I was like embarrassed. Like, I didn't even have a place to live, and I'm like coming to middle school and high school with people.
Were you bouncing from school to school too?
I got kicked out of one school because I had to use a fake address, and they found out that I didn't live there. So they like kicked me out and made me go to another school. And then some kid, and this was in middle school, but some kid, I think it was Conley, that I had to go to from Rawlinson. I was kicked out of Rawlinson, went to Conley. While I was at Conley, some dude wanted to jump me because he thought that I was like going after his girl or something. And I didn't talk to anybody while I was there.
Oh my God.
I like showed up at this school. I didn't know anybody, and I was like, I'm just gonna keep to myself. And
this guy was like, why are you talking to my girl?
This dude and his friends are about to jump me, this like short little dude comes up and stands in front of me and is like, hey, leave him alone, leave him alone. I'm like, who is this little guy? And he turns around and it's my homie Joe Anthony that like I knew from preschool. And I'm like, what is happening right now? And like, it was wild. So yeah, that was like the only time I really no, I guess not, because even in high school, I went to Clark for a year, my first year. And then after that, I dropped out because that was when like everything was happening with getting evicted by my sister, because like she wanted a place to live. And so she was like, hey, I'm going to get rid of my mom and my little brother, and I'm going to live there with my family instead, which is exactly what happened.
I got a question, Dylan.
Yeah.
You didn't even graduate?
Oh, I did graduate.
Okay,
yeah,
cool,
I dropped out. I dropped out because I was just too embarrassed to go.
Wow.
And then they took my mom to court. And when they took my mom to court, I'm like pleading with the judge, like, this is not my mom's fault. Like, this is all my fault. And they're like, well, you're going to have to pay this. She's going to have to pay this fine because I'm a minor, right? So they're like, you know, the judge was a female. She was like, you're going to have to pay this fine. You're going to have to work off this stuff. And I was like, is there any way, like, my mom struggles already. Is there any way we can do everything in community service? Like, court cost everything. And she looked at it. Was such a crazy way that it happened, man, because I don't know how it happened, but I was the last person in the courtroom, and I had missed the most days out of everybody. There were kids getting sent to juvie right in front of me that had missed 2 weeks of school, and I had missed months. And so I'm sweating, and in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to juvie. Like, I've watched 3 kids go to juvie for missing less time than I have. Like, I'm gone. My mom's starting to cry next to me and stuff.
Wow.
But somehow I'm the last person in the courtroom, and I'll never forget the judge, like, flips over the paper, looks at the time, like, makes that face like, holy crap. And she looks at me, she looks at the paper, she looks at the bailiff, she goes, I'm tired. Are you tired? The bailiff's like, yes, ma'am, it's been a long day. And she's like, all right, Dylan, why have you missed so much school? And I was like, I have no excuse. Like, there's no excuse that I can tell you that's going to make up for it. Like, anything I tell you is not going to be, like, admissible. All I can say now is that I'm trying to get back into school. I'm applying for this thing called Northeast School of the Arts. I'm really hoping that I get into either their dance department, their technical theater department. I'm good at those things. And she was like, well, do you think that you're going to get in? And I was like, I've already been, like, selected to come back and, like, have an interview. So, like, I'm doing well in the process. And she was like, okay, well, if that's the case, then, like, we're not going to send you to juvie. You're just going to have to, like, pay off these fines and stuff like that. Because I was already showing initiative to, like, move my life forward.
I see.
Before, like, going to court. And I was the only one dressed in a suit and stuff. My suit was from Goodwill, but I was still the only one dressed in a suit. And I think she just, like, took favor on that. Because, you know, you have to be respectful to the judge and people that work there. And
you're a dick. You're probably going to go to jail.
Yeah. And, like, all these kids were, like, I mean, I hate to say that they were in, like, you know, jeans with holes in it and shirts with holes in it and stuff when they were going up and speaking with the judge. But I ended up being able to work out all my community service through theater arts and, like, working at this, like, playhouse, basically, that was, like, revamping itself and remodeling itself. And so that's how I got into theater, which ended up leading me to Northeast School of the Arts, like, in a heavier way because, like, they were connected in a way. So, like, now I knew people on the back end. And when I auditioned for technical theater, that dude, like, heard my story. Shout out to Mark Ayers. And he was just, like, looking at this kid, like, trying to get somewhere in life, but just was hitting every roadblock along the way. He was like, nah, like, you're in. Like, my highest grade on my report card was a 40. Like, you couldn't even get into this school without, like, AB honor roll.
Wow.
And so they put me on probation, basically. And they were like, if you get anything less than a B, you're out. And so I put myself in all AP classes, which were, like, college classes at the time. And I went from, like, not paying attention in school at all to going into the hardest classes knowing that if I fuck up, I'm out. And I'm losing this big opportunity that's in front of me. But I wanted to, like, push myself. I guess it leads back to that fitness. Like, I wanted to squeeze more into it. Like, I don't want to just do it and just get by. I want it to be a challenge. I want it to be hard. And I want to conquer that. And that's when I'll feel good about it. And sure enough, because I had dropped out, I had to repeat a year. So my junior year, I'm still 18. My mom still isn't doing well mentally. She kicks me out. So now I'm 18, homeless, and in high school.
Oh my God, again.
Yes.
The cycle repeats.
The cycle repeats. And so I remember my senior year, like, writing all of my teachers on, like, you know, when you introduce yourself to them.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, my name is Dylan. I already work at the Cheesecake Factory. I dance for the Spurs on the weekends. I'm probably not going to be paying attention in this class as much as you want me to. Like, I'm working on getting rent to be able to save up for a place. School does not pay me to live. And I have to worry about that. So if I fall asleep in class, I'm sorry. And, like, shout out to those teachers because every one of them was like, we got you. We got you. Like, I would skip days that there were tests. And then the teacher would, like, next class, I'd go in. And they'd be like, hey, Dylan, like, and the whole class is talking amongst themselves and stuff. They'd be like, hey, Dylan, just fill out the first page. And I'm like, okay. And then they'd go back to their desk and I'd be like, hey, Steven, hey, Cammy, like, what's number 1? What's number 2? What's number 3, right? And they'd give me all the answers to the first page. I'd go give it to him and then he would just write 97 on it and circle it. Wouldn't even look at it. And I was just like, yo, like, these people are really, like, a blessing. Like, they're really trying to, like, they understand, you know, that, like, I'm not out partying. I'm not out trying to, like, just be a delinquent. Like, I'm trying to survive. And if I can't pay attention in school because of that, like, tough luck. Like, you're the thing I got to give up. And
when your mom kicked you out, where were you staying?
On a couple couches for a while. And then one of my friends, Jeff, his sister had moved out to college and he was like, you can come stay here. And, like, the first week that I was there, his mom was like, you got to get a job.
Did you ever go back to living with your mom?
No. She came back to the school a few times and was like, I want you to come back home. And I was like, no, like, I'm not gonna live anywhere where it's, like, that thin of ice, where I could lose everything at the whim of somebody else. Like, I don't like that. And the fact, like, I'll struggle out here before I struggle with you again.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then at this point, you start getting into the idea, like, I guess, I think what a good question would be is, when did the breakthrough into entrepreneurship happen? Because this
I've
is
always
a
had,
lot.
like, the bug.
This is already a lot.
Yeah.
Man. That, like, talk about a fucking life, bro.
It's funny because I used to think it was later in life until I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And you know when they're talking about how they were like in the library and like the comic books were having the page ripped out, but they realized they could like charge people to come see it and stuff like that. I realized that I had a business in elementary school where I had 3 employees, where it started off with me just like cutting pieces of paper in like a shape of a bookmark, coloring them with color pencil, taping them to laminate them, and selling them for $0.25 and 10 cents. And
Wow.
it got so busy at my elementary school that I had to hire like 2 people to make it and 1 person to manage the orders. And I just kind of like divvied up the profits and stuff. And I was in 3rd grade. And that same year, I won the fundraiser for like outselling everybody else. And so they bought me like a Mongoose bike. So like I've always had like this entrepreneurial bug, but it really, really took off when I was like exhausted of giving my time to other people. And I had been working at this company for like 6 years, and I was the #1 salesman when I came on for like 8 months straight. Like they
Is
gave
this
me
when I met you at the kiosk?
yes, they gave me a company car and stuff, and I was trapping, you know, I was slinging weed and stuff because that was where I was getting like majority of the income that I could use to just like play. Because you know, when you get put out and you got to like figure out how to be creative and make money, you go through everything that you can that's like reasonable. I remember calling my mom and asking my mom like, hey, would you be disappointed in me if I started selling? And she was like, selling what? And I was like, just trees. Like, that's it. Just green. Like, nobody's family breaks apart because of marijuana. Like, nobody like loses their mind and does heinous stuff. Like, it just makes people chill out, right?
Yeah.
And I just want to be able to get my friends better deals because, Mom, we're getting robbed out here on the taxes. And if I can buy in a bigger amount, sell to my friends for a lower amount, they win, I win. And she was like, for an hour, bro, she just started putting me on game.
Wow. You were telling me that your mom used to trap?
Yes. Yes, it was the craziest thing in my life, bro. And like at this point, I'm like 20 years old.
She probably used a hand scale. You remember those?
Yo, she when she saw what we had, she was like, this is nothing like what we had back in the day. We were getting pounds for $200. And I was like, what?
When the fuck did
Where
that
was
happen?
that from? Yeah, dude, it was crazy. So she put me on game, and I just absorbed that. And I already had a good tinkering of how business worked, because being the #1 salesman, getting the company car, working my way up to sales manager, then working my way up to general manager over the time that I was there for a smaller company that was still doing like $1 million years, I was able to see how an entire business operated.
I remember when I would go and visit you at the mall, you were always at different parts of the kiosk, and I just assumed that you oversaw all of them.
I was.
And it was great. I mean, guys, for everybody listening right now, I used to sell shit to Dylan a long time ago. It was crazy.
It's wild because the first time that you and I sat down in that food court changed my life forever. Like, completely changed. And I don't know if I've told you this before. I may have told you this before. I may not have. But the person that I was partnered with at the time was the person that was going to you and getting the product.
Yeah.
And they were telling me it was this price. I was putting up half the money. They were putting up the other half of the money and then going to you and giving everything. Then they'd come back, split half the product with me. Well, that person just kind of went AWOL for the day, and I couldn't get a hold of them. And I needed more product because it was like flying like hotcakes. We were the only people that had that. And I had like the whole mall on lockdown. So I see you and I'm like, yo, I think that's the guy that so-and-so, you know, got it from. So I'm like going to approach you on the escalator. I'm like, hey, can we talk real quick? I want to see if I could get that from you. And you're like, yeah, come up. So we sit down, and my friend had been telling me that half price, that the price that we're paying was $45 per item. And so
We can be straightforward.
I was
selling
it was
dab
the
pens.
pins, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so you were selling the dab pins. I was getting them from you, and he was telling me that they were like, I think they were like $50 a pop, so half was $25, right? So I was giving $25 for each one. And then I sit down with you in the food court, and I'm like, hey, I need a bunch more. Like, what can we do? And you were like, oh, I got you, bro. I'll do it for you for 20 a piece. And I was like, wait, what?
Wow, bro.
Because you know that's not how things work. If you don't know the plug, like, you don't get the discount. Like, that was your regular price, you know? And when I realized, like, instantly that was your regular price, I was like, my homie has been robbing me blind, telling me this stuff's 50. I'm paying for the full thing, and I'm getting half the product.
One of the things that I learned, bro, from the marijuana business and I apply this to anything that I do, man. And I know that you're aware of this because we've gone through it together, is that there's a source to everything.
Yeah.
Every single bit of information, everything that you've been given, every money-making opportunity, everything, there's a source. When you understand this, you realize that if I want to get my product at the best price, if I buy it from you, Dylan, you're not going to sell it to me at the best price because you still have to make money.
Right.
Because you were able to get it at a specific price. And then the guy that you bought it from probably had to go through the same thing.
Of course.
And the only way that you're able to get to the source of this is if you understand where the seed comes from.
Exactly.
Unless you're talking to a grower, it's impossible to get it for that cheap.
Yeah.
And so this is how I've been with most information. That's how I handle my real estate data. I get all of my records from the county because that's organic records versus buying them online. Whenever I'm buying real estate records for my real estate company anyway. But, you know, when I'm looking at information and I see that there's a coach that can teach me, well, where did he learn it from? Where did Tony Robbins learn it from?
Exactly.
And so then I go to Jim Rohn. Where did Jim Rohn learn it from? Then I go to Napoleon Hill.
Yep.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Every single time there's a source. Where did Napoleon Hill learn it from? And I start going all the way back to the Bible and then different variations of the Bible, X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
But, you know, I love this quote, brother, and it's in a book that I read, and it's called The Case for Christ and The Case for the Creator.
I know that book.
Phenomenal
We read
book.
that book and I think Garrett introduced me to that book when we were in high school.
My-
Such a good book.
I love it. One of my favorite sayings in that book is faith is in the evidence. And so what I love so much about that is it's just like, I'm not talking about justifying my faith with our creator. I'm talking about justifying my faith in that I am capable of doing things that other people are. And so if you show me that options can be made, and let's be real, Dylan, what's the most you've made on one option trade?
$13,990.
$13,900 plus dollars.
And
that's
it
how
was
much
like
you've made.
in less than 24-hour time period. Yeah, and it was funny because I was showing one of my students something in the group because we run the Infinite Signals group, so we have all these members. We educate people constantly. We want them to be successful. So I bought this play, like just showing them kind of how it worked, expecting it to be like a quick scalp in and out, and then it just kind of like never gave me a reason to leave. So I went to actually get out of the trade when the market was about to end, but I wasn't able to put my order in fast enough. And I was like, oh man, like the stock could go the other way tomorrow. And I ended the day at 60%, like positive 60%. And so all night I'm just sweating, like, please don't let the stock go the other way overnight. Like, please let it open up and like keep dumping. And sure enough, it gapped down so hard that my positive 60% opened up at positive 200%. And I was able to ride it all the way down to like 580%.
Wow.
It was insane, man. It was like, and then I was out of the trade by like 10 in the morning.
Can we just reiterate on this real fast that you've been homeless 2 times in your life and your mom kicked you out when you were 18 and you bounced from kiosk to kiosk, and that you were a drug dealer, and now you're a full-blown dad with full custody of your kid that just made $13,000 in literally less than 24 hours?
Yeah, I made an assignment fee by clicking buttons on my phone. It was crazy.
I'm almost positive your kiddo was like probably eating raviolis or something while watching her favorite show on Netflix.
I try teaching her. So in the morning when she's cuddled with me, I'll be like, what color is that? She'll be like, red. I'm like, what color is that candle? She's like, green. I'm like, good job, baby.
Going back to what I was saying too, Dylan, you know, the faith is in the evidence. I love that so much because when I see that it's possible for Dylan, it's literally possible for anybody who's watching or listening.
Yeah.
Because if you have a kid right now, and whether you're on the mom side or the dad side and you're a single parent, if Dylan can make this happen with very minimal resources, given your current, what you had to go through, man, is just insane. Other people would have folded, bro.
Yeah.
And you kept going, man. You kept going and you made it happen. Not only that, you doubled down on your fatherhood. You doubled down taking responsibility for your kiddo, and you're mastering things left and right. I can't even keep up with it. I'm in the same group that Dylan is in, Infinite Signals. I'm one of the guys who does I handle the marketing for the company.
Yeah.
I love Infinite Signals. This is the second time we brought it up on the podcast. But guys, you know, make sure that if you guys go to infinitesignals.io, they use promo code CLUTCH, and my guy is a genius. I see him making so many plays every single day, posting pictures of him feeding his kiddo, literally watching a show with his kid. They haven't even gotten out of bed, and they're still just kicking it. I'm almost positive you were making trades before you drove over here, bro.
Yeah, for sure. And I was signaling them out for other people to make too. Like I make a watch list that night, and in the morning I just signal that out for everybody. And like it was crazy. Like people made hundreds of dollars this morning before I even like left to come here. Like
I
and
saw that today was one of our most successful days.
Like if go to Eyes of DC on Instagram and check it out, you'll see my latest post, and you'll see like I had several people that are members posting $600 win this morning, $500 win this morning, a $200 win for somebody's smaller account. But that's massive for them, right? Like people are winning hard, and it's not even 10 a.m. Like some people are still driving on their way to work for somebody else. Like we have members in our group that are calling out of work consistently because they make more money pushing buttons on their laptop and on their phone than they would going and working for somebody else. And like that's what, you know, trapping gave me. Like it allowed me to like see that I was so unhappy with giving my time over to this business, even though I was at the top position that I could be. I was like, yo, I want my time back. So I got my time back, took everything that I learned about running a small business, applied it to that, mastered it, was able to profit so much that I put my ex through college. I never was late a day in rent, got myself a car. Like I completely took myself out of the hole. Like even before, it was crazy because like even before I got my townhome that I'm in now, I went homeless again because the person that I was staying with was house hacking. And he told me like 3 years ago, we were great friends. He was like, hey, when me and my girl decide to have a baby, we're going to ask everybody to leave.
Wow.
And so one day he comes in, knocks on the door, and he's like, hey, we got to have the talk. And I'm like, oh, shit, y'all are going to have a baby? And he's like, well, we're going to try for it. So we want the room. And I'm like, say less. Like, I'll get out of here. And then right when that's happening, another one of my friends is telling me, hey, I have this opportunity to move to California, and I want you to come with me.
Wow.
So because it's like for this marketing gig or whatever that I had worked a couple times with him, and I knew the owner of the company, and she was going to like buy a house out there for us. And so he was like, this is perfect timing. Come stay with me for a little bit, and then we'll go out to Cali. And I'm like, perfect. So while I'm staying there with him, he just like stops talking to me about the marketing thing. And I realized it fell through, and now I'm just like staying on this guy's couch. I'm like, yo, this is madness.
How long ago was this?
Maybe like 4, almost 5 years ago.
It's crazy, bro.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, maybe closer to 4 years ago.
I remember when I first met you, I used to deliver to your house, and you had such a nice crib, bro. I had no idea that you were going through any of this stuff.
Yeah, bro. You never show anybody that what's going on the inside.
I couldn't even tell, man.
Yeah, no.
And you were so calm and collected about your direction. Even when we would have our interactions and you were interested in getting into real estate or messaging Garrett and coming to our office, you've taught our office how to look at data. I remember you showed us how to split stacks and what we were doing using Tyler's formula that we didn't necessarily implement right away. This is before it's
secret data.
It became a feature, you know what I mean?
Well, I feel like, sorry, Tyler, I feel like I kind of exposed it to everybody, and then he had to make it a feature.
He was like, we got to make this a feature now.
I feel bad because when I discovered it and I started like I showed Garrett, I showed you, I showed McLean, I showed a few people that I really messed with, and I was like, yo, there's this secret data that nobody's hitting up that like we have the opportunity to make some money off of. And it was game changing. And when that happened, like the whole REI SIF page every day was like, so what's up with this new like what was it called? Unknown vacant list. Like, what's up with this that I'm hearing? What's up with this that I'm hearing? I'm like, oh shit, Tyler's gonna get mad at me. And because he's like, that's the secret list that he's been working off of for so long that he never told anybody about. And then it kind of just like came out through me, unfortunately. And then
it's all good.
A few months later, it became a feature on the site. And now
everybody
has the sauce. So yeah, but that was really cool, man. And that's just how my brain works. My brain is always trying to find the most efficient way of doing something. My brain's always trying to find the best outcome that we can have, and like what's going to get us there. What's the worst outcome? How can we avoid that?
For closing remarks on this, because I think that this is honestly, Dylan, I'm just learning so much about you, man. I'm absolutely blown away, bro. I'm amazed at what you've gone through and what you've been able to overcome. It takes a lot, dude, and you're an amazing dad. Thanks, I love seeing you with your kid. It inspires me to become a better father. I know that there's someone out there that's listening right now that's struggling, that's a single parent, that's trying to get their foot in the door on some stuff like this, man. What is the best advice that you would give to that struggling parent that's listening right now that is trying to make it, has their kid right next to them, and can't seem to figure it out?
There's a way. It's not impossible. You just have to get creative. And you have to just search for it, because the reality is if anybody else can do it, you can too. I wasn't always a single dad. My girl was still in the picture up until 3 months old when she decided I don't want to be a mom anymore, and she dipped out. And then that was it. And it was just me and my daughter, and I realized like, yo, I've got to switch up everything. And you have to make that decision yourself too. You have to like get out of that comfort zone that you may be stuck in, no matter what it is. Some people don't realize that struggling is their comfort zone. Some people get comfortable in the struggle, and you can't get comfortable there. You have to like be wanting to work your way out of it. But some people are addicted to that pain and that pity that they get from other people, that they feel upon themselves, and it's not healthy. So you have to just like be willing to change, be willing to try something new, and sometimes you got to put what little money you have down in on it, and then get creative on how you're going to get that money. Like for real estate is where I started first. And I didn't really have money for real estate, right? So I literally started driving for Uber with my car, feeding my daughter in the back the whole, like I'm driving like this with the baby bottle in the mouth, you know, taking orders so that I can afford data, so that I can afford skip tracing, so that I can afford to like the software to make the calls and stuff. And then my first real estate deal was like $15,000. And it was just like, yo, like this is worth it. Now I don't have to drive for Uber anymore. Like, and you know, I left Uber Eats behind and started taking that money, making it more money. And there's no such thing as like an instant success. Like you can't expect that. Like it's going to start small, but it's going to compound over time. And you just have to be willing to give it that time. Because my daughter's 2 now. And when she was 4 months, I didn't have a real estate business. I wasn't trading options. I wasn't doing any of the things that I'm doing now. And so you just have to stay consistent and keep going for it. And if you ever feel lost, there's guidance everywhere. There's guidance everywhere. If you don't know how to trade options, you can literally just join our group, use code CLUTCH. It'll be $47 for your first month, which is just don't go out to eat 2 times that month and you can afford it. You'll have access to the entire education portal that we built ourselves, where it teaches you everything from what buttons to push and why. And then you just got to follow along, and then you'll be making $600 in the morning before other people are on their way to work. And
matter of fact, let's do them one better, bro. If you're a single parent, you're listening to this right now, type in code PARENT into infinitesignals.io, and we'll give you 7 days on our platform for free.
Boom. That's
now there's
massive.
no excuse, man.
That's massive. And you can learn everything you need to in that 7 days if you
Literally,
buckle down.
literally.
And for real estate, when I was done feeding my daughter, I would stay up till 5 o'clock in the morning studying what I needed to study for real estate. You just have to like not give up. If you have to sacrifice sleep, sacrifice sleep. If you have to sacrifice tacos, sacrifice tacos. Like whatever it is that you have to sacrifice, do that. But nothing great is going to come without a sacrifice of some sort. So you have to decide what it is you're going to sacrifice, and then burn that at the altar so that you can get where you want to go. Whether that be something that's bad for you, people that are bad for you, habits that you have that aren't getting you where you want to go, just your own thought process sometimes and how you keep yourself down. You have to just sacrifice that so that you can get where you want to go.
I love that, bro. I love that. To the greatest dad that I've met in a long time.
I'll take that.
My guy, Dylan, I really appreciate you being on the show. Where can everybody that's watching this follow you right now, man?
On Facebook at Dylan DC Cook. You can check out my Instagram at Eyes of DC. My Twitter is your boy DC, and my YouTube for trading is Clutch Trading. So just check out any of that, and I'm happy to help you with anything that you need, whether it be parental advice, because let's face it, like being a parent is not easy. There's not a rule book on it, but you learn a lot doing it alone. And if you need any help with options trading, real estate, anything in life, hit me up. I'm here to help. I'm an open book.
Thank you so much for being on the show, Dylan. I really appreciate you, man.
Absolutely, man.
Alrighty, guys. We'll catch you all in the next one. As always, I'll see you guys later.
God bless.